Tonight on NewsWatch, a delay in the Boy Scouts ruling on gay members, when they'll make the decision whether to lift their current ban.
Plus, why some cities are protesting the use of domestic drones.
And how CBN is stepping in to provide medical care to those in need in Indonesia. All this and much more tonight on NewsWatch. The Boy Scouts organization says they need more time. Good evening, everyone. I'm Wendy Griffith.
And I'm Mark Martin. The Boy Scouts of America has postponed a decision on whether to allow gays to become scouts and scout leaders. The executive board says it needed more time to deliberate before holding a vote on the matter.
We're trying to do whatever we do with the young people that we serve in mind.
Earlier this week, the group received more than 1 million petitions from people protesting the policy that excludes homosexuals, and former leaders who say they were forced out because of their sexual preference went before the cameras.
In the name of fairness, in the name of equality, and in the name of all that is good in scouting, I ask the executive board to please end this harmful policy of discrimination.
I don't want one parent to have to tell their son they can't be a part of Scouts because they're not good enough, because the society says their parents aren't good enough. I will not let that happen.
1,400 members of the Boy Scout Council are now expected to vote on the issue at the group's annual meeting in Texas this May.
And joining us now to talk about the Boy Scouts and the debate over homosexuality in its ranks is Bishop Harry Jackson, senior pastor of Hope Christian Church in Beltsville, Maryland. Bishop, this has turned into a dilemma for the Boy Scouts because there's been such emotion on both sides of the debate, which we just saw. You know, if you were advising the organization on this, what would you tell them?
I would tell them they need to stick to their traditional policies, number one, that they are really being attacked because of the Supreme Court rulings that are about to come down concerning marriage. That's right there. And that there are many, many folks who are going to support them financially and in every other way if they stand strong. I also want to tell them that they probably have some dirty laundry that is being kind of held over their head, meaning folks are going to make accusations about improprieties over long periods of time that have happened and call them hypocrites. So I'd say if you've got anything that's been done wrong, just come clean with it and simply say, we want to maintain our reputation and we want to continue to train the next generation of leaders. I believe that the folks who want a gay organization can create their own, and that this is really totally legal what they're doing, and it's not discrimination. Also, one other point, this group the Boy Scouts is disproportionately aligned with African American and other minority churches. If they swing radically toward the gay community and open their doors wide, I think they'll lose an awful lot of African American and Hispanic churches that desperately need their kind of role models in their communities.
That's right. The 69% of all Boy Scout units in the U.S. are sponsored by churches. Now, let me ask you this. What do you think of this idea of allowing local scouting councils to decide the membership rules for themselves?
Well, I think what that will amount to is a real, over time it will dissolve the Boy Scouts. What will happen is this, section by section, they'll have groups that will turn all gay, and then they'll also have people who will be concerned about not knowing what exactly they'll get. And the people, their critics, don't really care whether the integrity of the organization is maintained. They just want to have the photo op and this PR moment to promote their ultimate interest, which is their sense of fairness and equality, which is misplaced.
All right, Bishop Harry Jackson, we always appreciate your insights. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Wendy.
Mark?
The Pentagon is set to extend benefits to same-sex partners of members of the military. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta has not made a final decision on which benefits will be included. Allowing same-sex partners access to the on-base commissary and other military stores, as well as some health and welfare programs, are being considered. Full benefits such as housing and medical benefits would require the repeal of the Defense of Marriage Act. The federal law forbids the U.S. government from recognizing any marriage other than those between a man and a woman.
Turning overseas now, British lawmakers voted Tuesday overwhelmingly in favor of a bill to legalize same-sex marriage. The legislation is championed by Prime Minister David Cameron, but some of his strongest opposition is coming from his own party. Charlene Israel has that story.
The ayes to the right, 400. The noes to the left, 175. So the ayes have it. The ayes have it.
It's the first of several votes required for the UK's marriage bill. If it becomes law, the legislation would enable same-sex couples to marry in both civil and religious ceremonies, as long as the religious institution consents.
Today was about, do we accept the fundamental principle of gay people being allowed to call their union a marriage? I'm glad that we do.
Marriage is a great institution, and it should be there for people who are gay as well as people who aren't. That's why I've pioneered this change.
The vote went Cameron's way, but it cost him popularity within his own party. More than half of his 303 conservative lawmakers voted against or abstained from voting for the bill.
Many people, yes, it's a non-issue, but to a lot of people, they feel that this is maybe the straw that has broken the camel's back.
Who are we, who is this government, who is this country, to determine, impose, nationalise a new definition of marriage which will have huge implications?
I think that when people begin to understand the full ramifications of it, I think people are going to be very concerned.
Some conservatives also fear the issue will cost the party a lot of votes in the next general election. If passed, the bill would come into effect in 2015, right ahead of that election. Charlene Israel, CBN News.
No more mail on Saturdays. The financially struggling U.S. Postal Service plans to stop Saturday mail delivery to help trim costs. The service is expected to end in August and would mean a cost savings of about $2 billion a year. Package delivery, however, will continue 6 days a week. The post office argues that package delivery has increased 14% since 2010, and letters and other mail have declined with the increasing use of email and the internet.
President Obama is trying to avoid automatic spending cuts that are set to go into effect on March 1st unless the deficit is cut. The cuts would hit the military and domestic programs. The president wants Congress to come up with a short-term measure to reduce the deficit. His plan includes some short-term spending cuts along with higher taxes, but Republicans are against any new taxes. The president's proposal comes as the Congressional Budget Office projects that spending on health care and retirement programs will keep driving the national debt higher and that 7 million Americans will lose their health care coverage at work under Obamacare.
Congress is looking for a way to limit America's use of deadly drone strikes. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee will likely hold hearings on the country's policy. The issue has become a hot topic in recent days, especially after a newly disclosed document exposes how much lethal power the administration can use against terrorists, even if they're American citizens. The document from the Justice Department says American citizens tied to al-Qaeda can be killed if, quote, an informed high-level official believes the target poses an imminent threat. The document goes on to say the government is not required to have clear evidence. Now the administration is coming under fire.
How does dropping a bomb on an American citizen without any judicial review, any trial, not raise the very human rights questions or more human rights questions than something like waterboarding?
The president understands the gravity of these issues. That is why he is committed to taking very seriously his responsibilities in this.
Carney went on to say that targeted strikes are legal, ethical, wise, and necessary to prevent future attacks on the U.S. Meanwhile, drone programs on the local level are also becoming under fire. Law enforcement officials use the unmanned aircraft as a tool to fight crime.
But now there's a push in Virginia and several cities to block the use of domestic drones, residents calling them an uncomfortable invasion of privacy. Heather Sells reports.
Virginia is leading the push to block the use of unmanned aircraft. This week, the city of Charlottesville became the first in the country to ban police spy drones, and the State General Assembly approved a 2-year ban on drones by police and government agencies. If the governor signs the bill, Virginia will become the first state in the country to enact drone regulations. But law enforcement groups are fighting back. The Appomattox County Sheriff says if his department had a drone back in 2010, they may have caught gunman Christopher Spate before he killed 8 people.
Definitely after the helicopter was shot down, we could have sent that up. We could have maybe possibly pinpointed where this individual was that we were looking for, versus sending another helicopter up, taking a chance of somebody being shot down.
Still, many residents say the camera-carrying police drones are unwelcome.
I don't like it at all. Feel like they're invading your privacy, really.
The Virginia bill would allow law enforcement to use a drone in emergencies like searching for missing children, but Sheriff Letterman says by the time a search warrant is filed, it could be too late.
And like I said, we're not in the business of invading people's privacy by no means, but I think in an emergency situation, we need to use whatever we have available.
11 other states are also considering restricting drone use. Heather Sells, CBN News.
The man behind last year's shooting at the Family Research Council's Washington headquarters pleaded guilty today to committing an armed act of terrorism. Floyd Corkins faces up to 30 years in prison for the attack at the conservative Christian lobbying group. Corkins shot one man in the arm during the incident, but in his plea agreement, Corkins said he intended to kill as many people as possible during the August shooting. According to the plea, Corkins targeted the FRC for their stance on gay rights. Coming up, the latest on the American pastor imprisoned in Iran. CBNNews.com. News you want, when you want, 24/7. Stay current with up-to-the-minute stories.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, New York.
I don't have to wait for my news anymore.
CBNNews.com at your fingertips all day long.
I only watch the stories I want to see.
I find the story, I click on it, and boom, I'm there.
Embassy in Washington, Eric Stackelbeck, CBN News.
The source for your news, CBNNews.com.
It's probably something I've had for many years, and every year the PSA would be a little higher. I just kept kind of ignoring it. One of those guy things. It'll go away. It'll go away. Finally, one day, Janet says, "You're going to the doctor." They did a blood test. My PSA was 14. I needed to get a second opinion, so we contacted Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
To find out more about Cancer Treatment Centers of America and our unique treatment options for complex and advanced stage cancer, go to cancercenter.com.
The really great thing is that you just go online, and if you have prostate or lung cancer or whatever, you can see what their survival rates are.
You can also check for participating insurance plans. Cancer Treatment Centers of America is different. You feel it the moment you call or walk into one of our hospitals. It's state-of-the-art medicine, unique treatment options, and a level of compassion that cannot be copied. Why? Our people. People who give you not only their expertise, but their humanity and the most thoughtful, well-organized, patient-centered care you'll find anywhere.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America go way beyond what normal hospitals do. I knew that they had the technology to take care of my cancer. It's a device called Calypso.
Calypso is GPS for the prostate. We're able to get 4-dimensional real-time tracking of prostate movement during radiation treatment.
It eliminates a lot of my side effects. It makes sense. It just makes sense. I own a deli. I'm back at work. My customers come in and say, "Gosh, you look good." And some of them say I look better now than I did before I left. I didn't expect to learn a lesson about how to treat people by being in a hospital. You can tell when somebody really cares.
Every minute counts when you're fighting complex or advanced stage cancer. So please call or visit cancercenter.com today. Appointments are available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Iran's President Ahmadinejad is in Cairo. It's the first visit by an Iranian leader in more than 3 decades. The two countries have not had ties since the Islamic Revolution in Iran in 1979. Ahmadinejad talked with Egypt's Islamist President Mohammed Morsi. Some Sunni Muslims weren't happy about that visit. They're angry because Iran's leaders are Shiite Muslims and they've supported Syrian dictator Bashar Assad. Ahmadinejad was forced to flee from an ancient mosque in Cairo after a Syrian protester took off his shoes and threw them at him. Despite the tensions, Morsi gave Ahmadinejad a red carpet welcome at the Cairo airport.
Attorneys for Iranian pastor Saeed Abedini say he is being tortured in an Iranian prison. The American Center for Law and Justice has filed an appeal on his behalf. Saeed is a U.S. citizen. The Iranian regime has cut him off from his wife and children. Saeed is serving 8 years in a brutal Iranian prison because of his Christian faith.
A State Department report on Israeli and Palestinian textbooks shows students only get one side of the ongoing conflict. The negative bias from both sides isn't a surprise to many, but as Chris Mitchell explains, some experts wonder if there is an agenda behind the reports.
Israel has long charged that Palestinians teach their children to hate Israel at school and through the media. Now a research project paid for by the State Department claims, at least in textbooks, that's not true.
And the result shows that there's almost no stereotype, there's no hate speech, there's no inciting for violence in the Palestinian textbooks.
American, Israeli, and Palestinian researchers spent 3 years examining hundreds of textbooks to determine how the two sides portrayed themselves and each other. Palestinian Authority Prime Minister Salam Fayyad welcomed the research, saying the conclusions are not in line with standing preconceived positions. But Israel wasn't so happy.
This attempt to compare Israeli textbooks, who deal entirely with the question of how you promote peace, with the Palestinian textbooks that deal with exactly the opposite. How do you promote a culture of confrontation? This comparison is really something is wrong and distorted.
Researchers claim to use a new method that maximized objectivity by focusing only on positive or negative statements, not on truth. For instance, the study says putting the 1972 Olympic massacre in Israeli history books casts Palestinians in a negative light. Why? Because the terrorists who killed the 11 Israeli athletes and coaches were Palestinian.
If facts included in history books in Israel, such as the murder of the Israeli Olympic athletes in Munich, are presented as if Israeli books present Palestinians in a negative way, what else do we need in order to prove that this is a libel against the Ministry of Education?
Researchers admitted the report had its limitations.
We think the textbooks are important, but we certainly know the textbooks aren't the whole story. We do not include the Holy Scripture, nor are there other things. What goes on in the classroom? What goes on in the media?
That's exactly where experts say the study went wrong. Dr. Arnon Groys has studied Palestinian textbooks for over a decade. As a member of the study's advisory panel, he pointed out problems with the process.
They didn't put about 40 items, significant anti-Israeli items, in the Palestinian books.
Cooperwasser says if the study was meant to help the cause of peace, it will do the opposite.
I'm afraid that this report is going to be used in order to whitewash the Palestinians from the need to really tackle the major problem that prevents us from promoting peace here. And this is the ongoing Palestinian incitement.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Up next, how CBN is showing God's love to the Muslim community in Indonesia.
My feet hurt, your feet hurt. White hot pain, I wanna cry. Is there anything I can try?
Why, yes! Introducing Strut Soul Angels, the human shock absorber that helps alleviate foot pain.
The first 10 steps in the morning to the bathroom were excruciating. Within 3 days after I put Struts on, it's been such a relief.
Slipped it on and almost immediately I felt a support, kind of like a pillow underneath my arches.
The Struts Soul Angel provides a great amount of relief and support throughout the course of the day, providing shock absorption and relief of pain.
On your feet without proper support can be painful. Strut Soul Angels promotes better balance, control, and body alignment. Standing in your heels all day is painful, but slip on Struts and you'll enjoy comfort and support 24/7. Struts is so versatile, you'll wear them in every shoe you own, even barefoot.
I'm on my feet all the time. I teach 11 and 12-year-olds. The pain was so much that I knew I had to do something. And with the Struts, I can do my job and enjoy my job.
I usually am on my feet from 8 to 12 hours a day. When I wear my Struts, it's like giving my feet a hug all day.
It's life-changing. I wear them from the minute I get up to the minute I go to bed.
Why pay $400 for custom orthotics?
Now get Struts Soul Angels for just $10. You also get Miracle Foot Repair Cream, absolutely free. Use it to help relieve dry, callous feet overnight. But wait, call right now and we'll double the offer free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Plus, you get a 100% money-back guarantee. If not completely delighted, send it back. But keep the foot cream as our gift just for trying. You get it all. A $70 value for just $10.
Oh, yes! Love my Struts, love my Struts. The best thing since sliced bread. They heal pain from toes to head. Get yours now, your doctor said.
Struts. Be nice to your feet. Call now.
Call 1-800-787-1580 and get your Struts and Miracle Foot Repair for just $10 and we'll double the offer. That's 1-800-787-1580 or visit getstruts.com.
A magnitude 8 earthquake struck the South Pacific. The quake generated a tsunami that reached up to 5 feet. It damaged dozens of homes and left several people missing and presumed dead across the Solomon Islands. The island chain lies on the so-called Ring of Fire. It's an arc of earthquake and volcanic zones where about 90% of the world's quakes occur. CBN Indonesia is giving free surgeries to suffering children.
Because of the huge need, there are 3 to 4 free clinics being held every month. That's double the amount given just 5 years ago.
Yeah, the majority of recipients come from poor Muslim families. CBN Indonesia says the surgeries are their way of reaching out to them and giving their children a better future.
2-year-old Irfan is crying because of the pain caused by hernia. The condition is very painful and can be life-threatening.
I found out about Irfan's hernia when he was 1 year old. I always brought him to the community clinic because I was alarmed that it was growing bigger, and my son always cried complaining that it was painful. But the community clinic cannot help him because he needed surgery. I was hopeless because we barely have money to buy food. How much more to pay for the surgery? And so when CBN came to our village and informed us about the free surgery, I registered Irfan right away.
Irfan and other Muslim children were taken from their villages to the CBN headquarters in the city.
They are some of the recipients of the free hernia and cleft surgeries that's being offered by CBN. We have here Ibu Dawit, and some of them have traveled for more than 5 hours just to get here. And Ibu Dawit's son is receiving a free cleft surgery. These people not only get free surgeries, but they're also given free transportation, free lodging, and meals. And this is CBN's way of showing God's love among our Muslim friends.
Non Rawong heads the CBN outreach in Indonesia.
Those people, I would say 99% are Muslims. These people are from a radical Muslim group. In the beginning, they all question, why should they do it to us? And why they provide us everything? Probably they want to convert us. But we say that you are here because of miracle. And who can perform the miracle is Isa al-Masih, because it's stated in your book that he performed miracle, he healed the sick, he raised the dead. Isa al-Masih is the one that makes us do all this and help you extend the love of Isa al-Masih to you.
Like the rest of the patients, Irfan and his parents stayed in the CBN guest house before and after the surgery. Here they were given food, a place to sleep, and moral support from the staff. Irfan's hernia surgery was successful.
I would like to say a million thanks to CBN for your care and compassion to help low-class people like us. I am now happy and relieved that my son is healed. Now he has a big chance to be healthy and successful in the future.
Not only are the physical conditions of these children changed, but their families and even their communities as well, as they see that their problems can be solved. They learn to see life more positively. And because of the good results, more people come to CBN for help. which only means more opportunities for the organization to share God's love to them. Lucille Talusan, CBN News, Jakarta.
Up next, how microloans are changing lives in Nigeria. CBNNews.com. News you want, when you want, 24/7. Stay current with up-to-the-minute stories.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, New York.
I don't have to wait for my news anymore.
CBNNews.com at your fingertips all day long.
I only watch the stories I want to see. I find the story, I click on it, and boom, I'm there.
Embassy in Washington, Eric Stackelbeck, CBN News.
The source for your news, CBNNews.com.
Listen up for an amazing offer that can change the way you hear.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you repeat that?
Frustrated with your hearing?
What did he say?
Well, hear better now. Introducing the fully rechargeable MSA 30X, a revolutionary device that features the latest microsound amplification technology that can barely be seen. Independently tested to help you hear up to 30 times better. It turns ordinary hearing into extraordinary hearing. MSA 30X works by capturing and amplifying sound waves, yet its lightweight ergoacoustic design is discreet. It form-fits in and around either ear.
I forget I'm even wearing it.
And MSA 30X is powerful. Hear clearly in restaurants. Never miss another word on TV or at the movies.
My wife complains that I have the volume up on the TV too loud.
And I didn't want to be in the same room with them.
Now I can hear everything clearly.
Simply adjust the volume as you desire. Other units use so many batteries and they're difficult to change. But the MSA 30X is completely rechargeable. Simply plug it into the wall.
I tried other devices that had batteries, but they were always such a pain to change and so costly. But this is rechargeable, so I figure I save hundreds a year.
Bulky sound amplifiers can cost hundreds, but try MSA 30X for just $59.95 and we'll include a cleaning brush and 5 comfort tips. But wait, in this special TV offer, we'll cut the price in half. Now you can hear up to 30 times better for just $29.95. But there's even more. We'll double the offer free. Just pay additional processing and handling. Wear them both or give one to a loved one. Did you hear that? That's 2 MSA 30Xs for just $29.95. The MSA 30X Hear Better Now offer. Get 2 for just $29.95.
All I can say is just try it. It could change your life.
To order the MSA 30X sound amplifier, call 1-800-535-0654. That's 1-800-535-0654. Or you can go to MSA30X.com. Call or go online now.
And finally, microloans are often small amounts of money that can change people's lives in a big way.
Operation Blessing is providing microloans to help struggling families around the world. A family of nomadic herdsmen in Niger wanted to move closer to the capital so the father could find work. He was having a hard time keeping food on the table and couldn't afford to send his children to school. Operation Blessing gave the family a microloan so they could buy 2 goats. Today, the goats provide enough milk for the family to stay healthy. The father is able to breed the goats, and he can then sell their offspring to pay back the loan and send his children to school. Look at them drinking that goat's milk there.
I like goat's milk and goat's cheese.
Yeah.
Love goat cheese. But, you know, it reminds me of that saying, you know, don't give someone a fish, teach them how to fish.
That's right.
And that's what Operation Blessing is doing all around the world.
They know what they're doing, that's for sure.
Pretty cool.
Blessing millions of lives.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of NewsWatch.
Remember, you can email us your comments and questions at newswatch@cbn.com. Hope you'll join us next time.
Good night.